everybody. Welcome back to episode 23 of the ControllerCast. My name is Andrew Ahaz, and I will be the host today. I am joined by Mr. Jonathan Wood, Arsal Akhtar, and Parker T. Grow. So, boys, I'm gonna throw it over to Parker. Parker, you go first. How has your week been, mate?
Honestly, I worked all week. Wasn't that fun, but just kind of enjoying the time I have. I watched Shang Chi with you, Andrew, over the weekend. Right after
Shang
the
Chi?
right,
Cultural
right after the
appropriation.
Yeah,
podcast
well,
ended.
get it right, buddy.
Yeah, Shang Chi. Okay, I'll remember that for later. But yeah, just a normal average week, nothing special. How about you, Johnny?
I actually don't have a whole lot either. We binged The Circle. Not all of it, because not all the episodes are out. But
Is that
new
the dating
season.
show?
No, it's like the social media competition show. You just have to be like the most popular person.
Okay, I knew some sort of like reality thing, but
Yeah, this season's it's not as good as previous. It's not as good as the other couple. I mean, I feel like they're kind of sputtering with their ideas and doing the same thing every season. So kind of like The Bachelor, you get tired of it after like 1 or 2 seasons. So we've been doing that, binging a lot of other stuff, not God of War. I mean, we got like probably 3 more hours in, but we're still only like halfway in to the actual story. So we got the spoilers. We got the dragon killed on the mountain, but that's as far as we've got. Other than that, I don't know. We've just been kicking it at home, keeping it super chill.
November God of War episode.
We will get to it. We will definitely get there. But what about you, Ursula?
Yeah, so it's actually been a pretty exciting week, I would say. Let's start. I would go on a little rant first. So if people have been paying attention, the Call of Duty Vanguard beta came out. That shit is hot ass. And I just the main thing I want to rant about is how the fuck does Modern Warfare 2019 look better than the fucking 2 games that come after it? Like
It was primarily on PS4. It was on PS4.
Yeah, Cold War I can kind of get because it runs on an older engine, but this game has no fucking excuse. This game runs on a Modern Warfare engine and it looks worse. And yeah, this one isn't it, Chief. I did not have fun playing this at all. But I don't know. I was talking to my brother last night, and he seemed like he was enjoying it. So I don't know. It wasn't really my cup of tea. And fuck Sledgehammer. Like between the 3 Call of Duty developers, like who cares about Sledgehammer?
I think they're probably the worst.
Yeah,
it's like the backup to the backup quarterback. It's just like chilling there. It's like we only use them when we're desperate.
Yeah, it's like Infinity Ward, you have Modern Warfare, Treyarch, you have Black Ops. What is it? Sledgehammer hasn't been able to start a franchise, which is pretty telling. And then from there, so most of the week was pretty like run of the mill, but so yesterday I got Deathloop, which has been getting like rave reviews. From what I've heard is like a game of the year contender. I played like an hour or 2 of it, like really kind of the preliminary, like kind of starting out. Where I stopped last night was kind of like, okay, this is like where the game is starting. Like it's beginning now. The loop, like you kind of get an idea of like what your objective is for the loop to get through the game. I'll have more to share on that probably next week's episode. But I'm excited to play it, but no further like opinions on that right now. And then I also went to my first concert in the post-COVID or in COVID era, like since COVID started. And I went to Tame Impala, and that was a really, really good concert. It wasn't like hype, like like some of the like rap concerts I've been to, but the best way I could describe it is like it made me feel happy. Like it was kind of like a happy feeling concert. But really good set. It was almost like tied for the longest set I've ever seen. The
It
longest being
reminded
like,
me of Starboy, the videos you showed me,
yeah, very
the
like
setup and stuff.
yeah. The longest set I've ever seen is Drake and Future in 2016, and that was 2 hours and 10 minutes. This one was 2 hours. So that was like, I was not expecting it to get that close. I don't think I'll ever go to a show that is as long as that Drake and Future one, but because if most people don't know that don't go to concerts, usually when you go to a concert, the set is between 60 to 90 minutes.
I've been to a concert that was 3 hours. Pearl Jam.
Yeah, that's
they played
crazy.
for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's wild. But Tame Impala, great live performer. Like his range is amazing, and honestly, it felt like I was sitting there just listening to the album because he sounds fantastic live. So that was great. But yeah, that was my week. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, this week's been pretty standard. I've been busy with my master's classes, so that's been keeping me busy. Nebraska's sort of back. They might not actually suck as hard as I thought they did. They probably will. Yeah, I think I could go out there and boot a nice 40-yarder and make it. But
yeah, and a collegiate athlete can't.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Yeah, so I mean, I picked up the new WarioWare game last Sunday after the pod, and I've been playing that a little bit. It's a fun little like Mario Party-esque game. I enjoy it. I had enough gift cards I didn't have to pay for it, and I got it at Walmart, which they price everything $10 cheaper, so it was like $40, which for a first-party Nintendo game isn't bad. Other than that, I mean, we've just all been peaking on Rocket League apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good week. I've been pretty good lately, but one person who is not very good lately, Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's fiance. God, that's
got
like
the internet.
Yeah, dude, like I can't. That's like that type of like, yeah, I can't come into work today. My boss's goldfish's like nephew died. I can't come in. Like how many like degrees of separation is she from this person? But apparently he got the vaccine and his balls swelled up. I'm
sure those two are directly correlated.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a vaccine, and apparently like his wedding got called off, and now she's like praising Tucker Carlson, and like Fox talked about her cousin's testicles for like 5 days straight, which is par for the course for Fox News. But what did she gain from fucking saying this stuff? Like,
I gotta say this topic has been more controversial than I thought it would be.
Well, and the funniest part is that
Nicki Minaj got ratioed on Twitter.
Yeah, by some like random blue check mark.
By some rando. She got ratioed on Twitter.
Dude, her tweet had like 130 quote tweets. Like 130 quote tweets. That's 130,000 quote tweets. That is insane, dude.
That's bonkers.
And like, I mean, like, okay, first of all, it was funny when the next day, like the Trinidad health minister said like, that's not real. And then she just like kept digging in harder, and Fox News just like started like white Republicans are like they're all Barbs now, bro. Like all
what the heck? Barb
they're
squad,
all Nicki
Barb
Minaj
army
stands now. I'm like, man, like what does she get out of that? I don't get it.
She just giving ammo to the old white conservatives.
But I will say, like, look, I'm gonna kind of play take the opposite side of this a little, where I think this just shows that this kind of thinking isn't just exclusive to quote unquote white conservatives. There's people I know personally, people of color that have very similar thinking about the vaccine, like regarding this very strange, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like
anomaly.
I don't think it's an anomaly. Like, I mean, like if you even look, okay, like I know we're getting like political here, but like think about something like Georgia. Like Georgia is like has a huge like African American like population, and it's like a battleground state. Think about that. Like there's people, like I said, in my personal life, people I know that are like Pakistani, like that are like anti-vax. Like it's not just, I'm not like, let me be on the record, I am not that, but like there are people I know that are that. And it's not just coming from, the stereotypical old white people, that I think it might come that, that sometimes it can be portrayed as.
I'm just too used to old white people being the problem, and so I got to put the blame on somewhere, right?
Oh man, it's all bad, all of it.
But on the
I
record,
feel like
this is a pro-vaccine podcast.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because I've been seeing a lot of discourse about this whole Nicki Minaj stuff, like because people are like coming to bat for her because like people think she's being like unfairly ostracized for saying those things, but like I don't know, like
she shouldn't have said anything.
Well, maybe she shouldn't have made up a story about her cousin's friend's balls.
Yeah, like I've just seen people like on my Instagram more than Twitter actually. I've seen people on like my like on Instagram stories talking about like we should be like defending Nicki Minaj because like she's just trying to ask questions, and it's like, is it wrong to ask questions? And it's like people I know that are like pro-vax act like
it's not wrong to ask questions, but it's wrong to make up a fake fucking story. Like
Nicki didn't ask a question. She didn't lead with a question. She led with a accusation on a platform where she has like 20 million followers.
Yeah. And now her cousin's friend, now everybody knows that he was cheating and got an STD.
Yeah.
Like, what is this collateral damage? That's like, it went from like an anti-vax post to like exposing somebody for having an STD.
Yeah, I also think it's weird, like how, I mean, like is she being invited to the White House or she's not? Like that's been also like she's maybe gonna talk to Biden about it. Like, it's this whole thing on like I'm obviously on your guys' side of thinking. I was just playing devil's advocate, really. But like it's so weird. Like because I literally saw it right before you started recording. It was like show proof of vaccination. It was just some dude with like elephantitis, and it's like imagine telling someone this shit 2 weeks ago. Like.
I'm just curious to see what the history books are going to include in like 30 years when they're talking about COVID and this whole era that we're in. I just can't wait to see. Like, is this Nicki Minaj story going to make the history books?
I hope.
Who knows?
Honestly, the only reason I would say it wouldn't is because there has been literally so much other newsworthy shit in the past year or two. Like
that's true.
Like
Nicki Minaj though. Barbie herself.
Yes. Like, but yeah, that was dumb. Like, and like that was it was just it's just like the same type of thinking that you see, I feel like, from everyone in this camp. Like she was like going on some rant on Twitter. She was like, well, fucking Drake got the fucking vaccine and he got COVID, so it doesn't work. Like okay, like
yeah, that I mean you can still get it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like I think what Nicki is doing is dumb, but I'm more interested. I think it's been more interesting seeing the discourse surrounding her stupidity.
Yeah, like how did we get Fox News viewers to become Barbies? How did we do that?
Barbie stands.
It's gone too far. Twitter has gone too far.
Social media is nuts.
Yeah.
It's actually insane the power it has.
And social media is actually
follow our Parler account.
Yeah.
Yeah, social media is something, and Lil Nas X definitely took advantage of it when he started his career, and now he has come out with his debut album 3 years after the hit single Old Town Road came out.
It's 3 years? Holy shit.
I think it was 2018. Or maybe it was 19. Let's do a quick on pod fact checking.
Yeah, we gotta get that fact checking in.
Old Town
I feel
Road
like that was a
came out
year.
Yeah, I felt like that was a lot sooner.
2019. Okay. Okay, so 2019. So about 2 years. This is his debut studio album. First couple listens, I've listened to it like pretty regularly the past couple of days since it came out. I like it on first thoughts. I probably need to listen to it a few more times. I know, John, you said you liked it a lot.
Yeah, I've been digging it quite a bit. Like the few features it has are really good, but mostly it's just Lil Nas X, and he kills it, I think.
Yeah, and I thought it was really good. Arsenal, I know you at first were kind of skeptic, but I think after a couple more listens, you said you were liking it.
Yeah. So like when I was talking to the guys about this, a first listen for an album is like just kind of like almost like the detox, like it just like kind of like you gotta like just get through it, because for some reason almost no album all ever like registers for me in that first listen. I also need that second listen is where I can really start to make up my opinion of it, because when I listened to it the first time, it just kind of sounded like generic pop rap to me, but as I've listened to it more, and like I don't have like a full in-depth like opinion on the album just yet, but from what I've listened to it, like I've come to appreciate some of his his balancing act, I guess, if that's the best way to put it. I really like how he is kind of able to jump or like really balance between a lot of different genres pretty fluidly. Like you on this album you get rap, you get pop, you get like R&B, you get alternative, you get rock. Like he's really jumping around between a lot of different genres in a really fluid and like good way. I also want to just say, like, as for Lil Nas X as a person, it's great to see a gay or like an LGBT icon in the rap scene. I feel like, or someone as prominent as him. Obviously, we have like Frank Ocean, but Frank is obviously kind of pretty low key. But like to see someone like as prominent as Lil Nas X, someone as like out there, really taking the stage for something like that in hip hop is huge, because it's been well documented that in hip hop, like there's kind of a little bit of like homophobia in hip hop. So it's really great to see something like that, and I'm really happy about that. I also think the features are pretty good. I don't like we were also talking about, I think the Meg the Stallion feature is just sounds like a copy and paste Meg's feature from like any other feature she's done. I remember looking at the track list also, and it did, like, this one didn't register to me, but I was looking at it, I was like, why the fuck is Miley Cyrus on this thing? I didn't even register that like he made a song with like that Miley Cyrus is Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter. Like, I mean, like I know I know that she is, but like I just wasn't connecting that. Like, oh yeah, he probably like linked him with Miley. Like
I didn't even think about that either, actually.
Yeah. Well, so like, but then I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Full
Like,
circle.
you're getting like another Cyrus feature on there. I know, Andrew, you said that was actually one of your favorite songs. That was actually probably one of my least favorite songs on the album. That last song. But yeah, my favorite songs, if I had to like not guess, what the hell. Obviously this could change, but I would say $sign Slime is really good. Scoop, Dead Right Now, Industry Baby. All the little stars went away. Okay. I actually really like Life After Salem. But I'm gonna say a little hot take. I actually think the best song on the album is still Montero, Call Me by Your Name, because I think that song is a fucking bop.
I think that song's good.
It is. It is still good, especially not now that I don't hear it all the time everywhere. It's that much better.
It's a great opener, and also huge shout out to like perfect length for the album. 15 songs, perfect.
Yes.
That's worth giving a shout out because
And it's only 41 minutes long.
yeah, like
It was perfect.
Yeah, it's
lengthwise.
Yeah,
A
lengthwise.
very welcome switch up from the past couple big albums.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to mention that because 15 songs, 41 minutes. I would probably I think maybe like my perfect length for an album is probably around 15 songs, like 60 minutes. Like if I'm thinking to some other albums that are some of my favorites, but like yeah, still really, really good. Great, I think great show, like debut. But I don't know. I kind of covered a lot of bases in my talk right now. What about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the song with Miley. Something about it, like their voices together, just sounds like insane in my brain. It like tickles like some part of my, I don't know what part of my brain, but one of them.
Gives a little dopamine
The
rush.
one thing I was kind of disappointed in was like, I saw there was a song with Elton John, and I thought he was gonna like be in it, but apparently he's just doing like instrumentals in it, which I was like, okay, well, I mean, that's like still cool to have him on a song, but I wish he would have been singing too, because I like Elton John. I think probably my least favorite song is actually $sign Slime. But
on the same $sign.
But that's not to say that that it's a bad song, like just relative to the rest of the tracks, it's my least favorite. I mean, I really like it. I think he's got a great voice, and I think he's got like top of the line production value on all the tracks, and his promotion through social media is fucking insane. Like he put on like a pretended that he was pregnant like for like 3 weeks, and then I don't know if you guys saw the
he's a menace.
Show. And then he gave birth to the album like on a YouTube video. Like he went into labor, and just like this album popped out. It's like it's so funny. Like the way he promotes and like the cast that his social media pulls is like insane. He is an artist that came up when social media was at its peak, I think. And like this is like the peak time for social media in terms of like interactions across the world. And like he has utilized social media so well. Like I think even if this album was like pretty mid to like bad, I still think it would have popped off just because of the reach he has. Like he has so many like fans, and his promotion is insane. Like the billboards he was putting up around Los Angeles were hilarious. Like putting like Mr. Real America, find out how we can take it back at the MonteroShow.com, and then it had like a QR code straight to the album.
That's so
and it was like, gay, you might be entitled to financial
compensation. And then it says like, Montero at the bottom.
Yeah, and no, I don't know if Arsenal and Parker, if you guys watched the Montero show video that he did, where he like did like this whole like fake Ellen show or whatever with it, like all the characters were just him in different outfits.
No, I didn't see that.
But I watched it yesterday, and it was so funny. It was hilarious.
I haven't seen that.
You got Jared actually sent it to me. Shout out Jared for keeping me in the loop with all this promo shit. But it was hilarious. Like I was like watching it, and it was genuinely funny. Like, and then at the end of the video, he like his water breaks, and then the next video is just him giving birth to the album. So, shout out him for the promotion. I mean, I'm very impressed by this album. And I'm kind of like, I'm glad that he didn't just be like a one-hit wonder and just fizzle out after Old Town Road, because that easily could have happened.
Yeah, like I was like, I respect and I really appreciate that he's like trying to come into his own as an actual artist.
Yeah,
because he could have just gone the meme route, you know, with Old Town Road. And also I gotta say, he's got balls that
aren't inflamed and infected balls.
Yes. Yeah, that like he's launching so close to these two other big albums.
I know.
But yeah, because like right now, it'd be great if this album goes number one. I actually don't know if it will, because I think like I was looking at the numbers, and I think it's like in contention. Like I think it's supposed to sell like 140,000 copies, and I think that's like kind of neck and neck with like Drake's, like with CLB's third week. So like, I mean, we'll see if his bet pays off, but like still like respect to him for releasing it so close to those.
Yeah.
And with all the hype behind it, I'm actually surprised that it's not a little bit closer to CLB. Like even, I mean, the first week of CLB, he sold so many, but I'm surprised that Montero hasn't sold that many because I feel like he's just on the same hype levels. But
yeah, I mean, just for reference, like Donda sold 310,000 in its first week, and CLB sold 615,000.
yeesh.
But like I never expected it to get to like how much CLB would sell, but I was honestly I was thinking it could be in like the 2 to 300 range. So I mean 140 is a little lower than what I was expecting, but that's still good. That's still really, really good. Like we're talking about Drake and Kanye selling those numbers. Like
Yeah. Parker, did you have any thoughts on it? I know you haven't listened to it, but do you have anything going into it?
Yeah, I listened to like the first just 4 different songs throughout the album. I haven't fully listened to it yet, but from what I have heard, I like the vibes, man. I like what Lil Nas is doing. I feel like he's starting to come into his own in terms of like billboard breaking stuff and creating songs that people will talk about. I feel like he's a big point of conversation nowadays, and that's what you want to do as an up and coming artist. You just want to start the conversation, and he's doing a great job of that. So definitely want to check this out and see what I fully think about it, because I really do like Lil Nas.
Yeah. I think you'll like it, Parker. I feel like it's an album you could vibe to.
Yeah, it reminds like Lil Nas almost reminds me of Post Malone, where he's not like fully into the hip hop category. He kind of dives into a little bit of everything, and this album really
Does
is
Lil
a good
Nas play
example of that.
guitar? Because I swear I heard like guitar throughout the songs I listened
I
to
think
so
he does.
far.
I don't know if he does himself.
That's one of my
Not.
complaints, if I could think of one, was like I feel like there was a lot of horn beats on the album, if that makes sense. Like, you know, or like the
trumpets and French
yeah
horns and
yeah
stuff?
I felt like there's like 5 songs that had like trumpet beats.
Bum, 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 bum,
yeah.
bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
I love that shit actually.
Yeah,
So I'm not mad about it.
I'm like a huge sucker for like songs that have like piano or trumpets in it for whatever fucking reason.
I like the
I don't know.
classic instruments.
I know.
sound of them.
I like them mixed in.
I'm a
like-
saxophone solo whore. If there's any of that, I love the saxophone solos.
solo horror.
Jeez.
That's a first.
That's a
I don't
brand
think
new
I'll say that
sentence.
ever again.
Yeah, so Montero, I think we all that have listened to it say it would have the consensus that it's a pretty good album.
I think it passes the hype test.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Parker,
a great.
you'll have
It's
to
a
Do
let
a
great.
us-
full review on it.
you'll have to
Yeah,
let
it's
us
a
know
great
how it
debut.
is, Parker.
Yes, for real.
Okay, so our next topic, Nintendo did something good this week, so we have to shit on Apple instead. You know.
Wait, what
break
did
the-
Nintendo do? Oh, the Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
a small thing, but it's better than what Apple did. This
too
week.
little, too late.
I agree.
yeah.
So the Apple event happened, allegedly. Well, they allegedly came out with new products. I don't, whether you consider them new or not is up to your interpretation. So, you know, I think this is a problem with Apple where they ride this like wave of hype in the news headlines and stuff, like rumors about their new products. And like, I feel like the rumors get me more excited than the actual phone. Cause like, I remember they were like, oh, there's no notch on the display and it's got satellite communication technology. And like, you don't
What
need,
the fuck does that even mean?
yeah, I'm like, this is bullshit, but it's more exciting than what actually came. Because the iPhone 13 was announced. It basically seems like an iPhone 12s. It seems more like it should be an S upgrade instead of a full number upgrade. I know Apple doesn't really do S's anymore, but I feel like this one is like the prime example of why they should keep doing S models, because the phone really isn't that much different than the iPhone 12. It's got a bigger battery. It's got like a smaller notch, which I don't know how much smaller it is, and it doesn't even really make a difference because they don't add anything in the screen that they save at the top.
Yeah, like who gives a shit?
Yeah, so the new A15 Bionic chip is like the one thing that I will give them like props for is that their new chip is very battery optimized. So like the 13 is supposed to last like 3 hours longer than the 12, and like on the 13 Pro Max it can like watch videos for up to 25 hours on one charge, which is insane. Because I think the 12 Pro can only do like 14 max, which
That's almost double.
the battery optimization is insane. And I mean, at least they're listening to like, hey, we want a new battery, we want bigger batteries, and I don't know how much bigger the actual physical battery is, but I can assume that it's all set in the software, just optimizing the battery usage.
Apple's good with their chips.
Yeah, they are. They're very good at optimizing their chips specifically for the devices, since they make their own in-house chips, which Samsung has also started doing, I believe, and Google. So that might heat up whatever smartphone war is left. I mean, I don't really think there's much. I feel like you have your preference by now. I feel like there can't be many people that switch between them anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, that's such a pain in the butt to do anyway, because like, especially if you've been in the Apple ecosystem for a long time, you probably have like 4 different Apple devices and everything works across each other. You probably have Apple Music, but like, yeah, I can't imagine that people are switching between them a lot. And
Apple and Samsung.
I mean, yeah, like between
Apple and
Samsung,
Android.
Google, Apple, yeah, just Apple and Android in general. And especially with this new iPhone release, I don't think you're gonna change any people's minds. I mean, in my opinion, the coolest thing with the with the new iPhone is like the like depth of field change that you can do on video before and after, or like during the video and after the fact.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool, but like, I don't know. I just like I got an iPhone 12 back in, what was it? Probably April. So not too long ago, but I got it mainly for our honeymoon and being able to take good photos and videos while we were in Colorado. And I have no complaints at all. So like, I'm thankful for the camera upgrade and the chip upgrade, but like, bro, for a number upgrade, like we're going from iPhone 12 to 13, not 12S or anything like that. I mean, they've kind of moved away from S upgrades anyway, but like, bro, this isn't even an S upgrade. Like S upgrades always had something cool, like a cool feature that is only on that phone. But that's not really the case this year.
So there's like 2 things that kind of come to mind for me. One is like, yeah, the whole S cycle now is so confusing since iPhone 8 and like iPhone since iPhone 8 and iPhone 10 released concurrently, because
they skipped 9.
Yeah, they skipped 9, and the 8 was essentially like a 7S. That was kind of like the idea pretty much. And then so you're like, okay, maybe they're getting rid of it, the S cycle. But then after the 10, they had the 10S, and then they did 11, and then now 12 and 13, and now they're like back. So it's like, okay, so maybe you are getting rid of it, but then that 10S, like they just did 10S. I don't know. That was a weird year. And then so that was just kind of strange. I think this could have been an S. I agree with you guys. Also, I just think it's so funny that every year, like this is just default upgrade stuff. Like everyone knows you're gonna get a better camera. Everyone knows you're gonna get a better battery life. And on like the topic of battery life, like bro, they say that every year. You would think we're on iPhone fucking 13, you'd think the first iPhone had a battery life of like 10 minutes. Like, like,
yeah, if you double it every year, I mean,
yeah, like, I feel like, you hear that every year. And I mean, will I lie? Well, like, I'm not, like, let me restart. Yes, the iPhone 11 Pro, which I have right now, definitely had the best battery, but like, what I think they don't mention is like the degrading quality of that battery, because now it feels like I used to go 2 days without having to like charge this phone. Now it's like back to like regular status. Like that's probably the best wording I can find for it. Like I
that happened with my 10R. It's the same thing.
And yeah, like the R's, like it's so weird. Like
the R, yeah,
yeah. Well, I totally forgot that existed. But yeah, like I have to charge my phone like before the end of the day now. Like, like that's like a big drop. And then I go on battery health, and it's like your battery health is 92%, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's some like that's some
yes.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. Because it's like half of what it used to be. But I'm gonna be getting this phone. I think I'm the only one that's gonna be getting it, because I think I'm off a year from everyone else
on the upgrades. Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, because I remember I remember that was Parker. It was Parker that was the one that was off. I remember that, and the rest of us were like on the same cycle, but now it's flipped around. So I will be getting this. I will be most likely getting the 13 Pro. Even though like I know it's not the biggest like it's not a huge upgrade. It's just time for me to move on from my 11 Pro. And I like upgrading at the 2-year mark. But no, I'm on board with you guys regarding this specific like announcement that this is nothing. And I knew it was going to be nothing before they even showed it off, because they showed like a week ago. I don't know if you guys saw it. There was the leak of like the iPhone 14, and like
already.
Yeah, and that had literally all the features that people thought was going to be in this year's iPhone. So I was like, wait, so if that's next year's iPhone, what the fuck is coming out this year? Like,
see, here's my thing. They've been talking about adding a fingerprint sensor as well as Face ID for so long, and they have the fingerprint scanner in their iPads. Why the hell didn't they put it in the iPhone? They could have done that, and I think that it would have been a slightly more attractive upgrade. But they didn't even do that. That's like such a minimal thing.
I didn't go like deep diving into the iPhone 14 leaks, but the main thing I saw was like there's not going to be a notch anymore. That was like one of the things
I could see that. I'm surprised there's still a notch on this one, honestly, because I don't think Samsung has had a notch in like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they haven't. Or it's been like just a camera dot.
I don't actually, like, I'm gonna give a hot take here. I actually kind of like the notch a little, like just because I feel like it gives it a little bit of personality to the look of it. Like when you,
I agree.
But I mean, if you're gonna like, I just don't get, like, if you're gonna completely get rid of the notch next year, like, I don't know, like, why didn't you just do it this year? Like, instead of just shrinking it a little, like, you clearly had the capacity to just get rid of it completely. The leaks show it. But
like this one just doesn't look any different than the iPhone 12, in my opinion.
I can't even tell the difference in, like, okay, I'm gonna look at, because obviously I have an article pulled up. I'm
the way the camera's like shaped. I think that's
maybe
I think it's just the camera orientation, because now it's like it's diagonal instead of just up and down.
Well, like even on the notch, like it looks okay, I guess never mind. Okay, I can actually kind of see like the notch is a little bit smaller, but like at that rate, just fucking get rid of it. We know you're gonna get rid of it next year. Like from what it looks like we all have iPhone 12, iPhone 11. Like looking at it from the photo, it looks like, you know how the front facing camera, like the black side to the right of it, and then like that looks like that's just gone now. So but yeah, that's kind of my take. I think like I'm gonna be getting it obviously because it's time for me to upgrade, but this was a extremely lackluster upgrade year from 13. Like no one talked about it.
The one thing
talk about it.
The one
I
other
haven't
thing
seen
I'll-
any talk about it.
The one other thing I'll give them credit for is they made the default storage at 128 now,
Yes, that's actually huge.
which is really nice because I've always bought the 128 just because I always want a lot of storage. And I mean, I'm glad that they defaulted because they realized 64 is like not great anymore.
Yeah,
Parker,
I have
you-
enough cloud storage that it's never really bothered me, but I will give
Yeah.
him props for that too.
Parker, did you have any thoughts on the iPhone? I know you have the 12 Pro, so you probably won't be getting this either. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't get Apple lately, man.
How's the battery on your phone doing, Parker?
It's lasting me about a day now. Like it used to last me 2 days, now just back to
yeah,
the
my
norm.
phone's battery capacity is at 97. I've only had it since December.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check my battery capacity.
I'm just starting to kind of lose my patience with Apple a little bit, man. I'm just waiting for something good, you know? Waiting for them-
100%, actually.
Wow. They do these huge reveals.
You
and
wanna
it's just
know
like
mine?
Probably
92?
80 something.
88.
Wow.
I just like hate that they I hate that they make these huge like elaborate presentations. Like the drone is like flying through the fucking the Mojave Desert. And then they're like,
They put
yeah,
more
we just
effort into
upgraded the fucking camera. Like half of the iPhone, like 75% of the iPhone 13 like Apple page is about the fucking camera. Like, dude, we get it. You can take pictures. I don't even take pictures that often. Like, it's just like, dude, like give us something new, goddamn it.
Yeah, I remember when it was like the iPhone 4, 5, and 6, where like each generation they'd come out with some new cool feature, like there'd be a fingerprint sensor, or hey, there'd be Face ID here, or just something innovative.
Yeah.
I'm missing out on the
Well,
innovation nowadays.
Bro, like I said, it's funny you mentioned that. The Touch ID is in iPads now. They have Touch ID, but they won't put it in iPhones as well. And with
Speaking of
with
iPads.
masks and stuff still,
Yeah,
like
speaking of iPads.
might as well.
So iPads, they did not upgrade the default storage on the iPads. It's still 64. So nice. That's a good one. The new iPad 9th gen just looks like the 8th one, just has an A13 Bionic processor, which I don't know what phone that was on. I'm guessing it was the 11 that it was on.
It was the 11.
And then the iPad mini's back and it's more expensive than ever.
It's more expensive than the iPad Air 4, which is like low key better.
Yeah, and I like at first I saw that, I was like, oh, if I ever need a new iPad, I might get a mini. And then I saw the price and I was like, yeah.
$500 starting.
Yeah, starting at 500. That's a lot. For an iPad mini, that's just come on, man.
I just want to know, like, there's an alternate reality. Look, I've already accepted that we're living in the wrong timeline. I already accepted that.
Wow, what made you think that?
That can be a main topic for another day.
Why we're in the
Multiverse.
bad timeline.
But just like this reveal, this showcase is just like, man, like what would Apple look like right now if Steve Jobs was still alive? Like,
I have no idea.
Tim Cook seems like a very yes man-esque person.
Tim Apple.
See, Steve Jobs was a massive douchebag in a lot of ways in his past. Like, if you
don't
watch a lot
say.
of,
Yes.
I know it is a bad thing to say considering he is gone now, but there are a lot of things that Steve Jobs did in his past that were really not okay. But when Apple was owned by Steve Jobs, there's a lot more innovation, a lot more creativity going on, and I just feel like in the Tim Cook era, I've not seen nearly as much innovation. We've just seen like the same incremental upgrades: the camera, the battery.
They just play it very
processor.
safe.
It's the camera, the battery, the processor. Every new phone, it's like, give me something here.
And it's like kind of like if you like, I'm trying to find a good like analogy for this, but it's like they just do these small upgrades because they know like they're never going to stop making iPhones every year, like it's like FIFA like, or like Madden or something, like just the small upgrade, like, bro, this could, I shit you not, they could announce the next iPhone, they could announce this iPhone, and it could have been exactly the same. It could have been, they changed nothing. And I bet no one would fucking bat an eye.
Nobody.
Like,
They could have just re-released the iPhone 12. They probably did. The camera's probably the damn same.
yeah, we've upgraded it.
Let's
Like
be
you said-
honest.
Come on,
It was a tough
MKBHD.
year.
Let's see.
Just to
And
break
then
down.
the last new thing was the Apple Watch 7. That has a full body, well, not full body screen, but the entire face of it is a screen. But no release date, so nobody really knows what's going on with it.
That was what I was most excited about, but the fact that it doesn't have a release date makes me think it's next year.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I
Apple
don't
Watches
know.
used to release in the summer. I remember that, right?
Yeah.
Or am I crazy?
No, I think you're right.
Okay, cool.
Because they would usually like come out right after WWDC, I think. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of annoyed that Apple is just so vanilla lately. Like I didn't even like. They just don't do anything except just make new. Like they make new products, but they're not even really like new. They're just reshelled old products with a few upgrades.
What do you guys think about like the status of the Apple Car?
I think it
Well, it's
exists.
interesting. I mean, there was an interview at the end of the Apple event that I actually noticed or saw. I had turned on the Apple event really late because it was still live, and I heard this dude ask Tim Cook, like, "Hey, what's the status of the Apple Car? You know, we've been hearing about it, we've been talking about it. We made this shit up, and we're dying to know about it. The rumor mill made this shit up, but apparently they didn't, because Tim Cook was like, oh well, you know, we have to keep something a secret." So in my book, that's kind of a confirmation that the Apple Car is coming, but that's also kind of scary.
Whatever the Apple Car is, the Tesla will always be better. So
It's just like, dude, if Apple makes a car, they literally have a hold of every aspect of your life. They have data on everything, bro. That's insane. That is insane. They'll know where you go, what time you go there. I mean, they already do with your phone, I guess. So
I know we've like touched on this a little bit in like previous episodes, but I'm kind of surprised to see and I mean, I guess they have with Apple Arcade, but like I'm surprised to see them not jump more headfirst into gaming.
I think if they do, they'll just go ahead and buy PlayStation, which I hope never happens. I don't want Apple to ever buy PlayStation. Please, for the love of God, don't.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 prices would go from $500 to $1,200 real quick.
And it would
If
have
Apple
a pro
bought
option from launch.
There'd be a PlayStation 5S and SE and SR and R and X and
Wow,
that sounds like another video game company that makes consoles.
Whoa.
Microsoft.
Apple buys Microsoft.
I would actually love for Apple to try to get into the gaming scene and then get their shit kicked in, because I think the gaming market is probably one of the hardest markets to fucking breach into, because everything is so established at this point. Like, I cannot imagine there being like a genuine fourth competitor coming in.
Besides
Like-
Soulja.
That's why
Soulja
that's why I kind of hope the Steam Deck does well, because I feel like there's just so many just seeded companies in this industry. It's like nobody's budging. I just want something to happen. I want something new, but it's so hard to compete.
More competition is always good.
Exactly. Like that's why I want these other like kind of off brands to do their thing and do it well.
Like, we've had the big three in gaming for 20 years now. Like Sega, Atari, all that stuff died like really in the 90s.
It was really when the PlayStation 1 came out, because PlayStation kind of just destroyed the rest of everything else. And then from there on, it was PlayStation and Nintendo, and then Microsoft with Xbox in like 2002.
Yeah. But I mean, this is like a completely different topic. But yeah, like,
I would be interested to see Apple make a gaming console at some point. I just don't think it's going to actually happen. Like, I feel like they have this idea that like mobile gaming is still going to kick off and it's still going to get big, and that people are going to want to play phone games on their Apple TV. And I just don't think it's ever going to get there. I really don't.
Yeah. Also, like, kind of like the other thing that was in this event, like we've seen Apple try to branch out with varying success in terms of different media outlets, like with Apple TV Plus. That's like what they kind of like started their show off with. I think Apple TV Plus is probably on the lower end of the totem pole in terms of like streaming services. But we were talking about this. Ted Lasso supposedly is fantastic, but that's something that you can tell Apple is definitely struggling with in terms of like bringing value to that specific product.
Yeah, their streaming revenue though, or their like recurring revenue from like Apple Music and stuff like that is pretty damn high. I think it takes up like a third of their
half of the services
now.
they have are paid subscriptions now. Music, TV, iCloud storage, fitness.
Also, does anyone remember the fact that Apple Music is like Apple Music is built off of Beats Music? Does anyone remember Beats Music?
I remember Beats Music, yeah.
Yeah. Like that's essentially what Apple Music is. Like, I mean, because obviously Beats got bought out by Apple, but like it's super interesting. Like I remember watching this thing about how Beats pretty much got cannibalized.
Yeah, remember how Apple Music was an iOS 8.4 update? It wasn't even like a main headlining feature of an iOS update, but it was probably the biggest thing we've gotten in a long time from Apple.
Yeah, and that wasn't even like a huge departure, because it was really just one. It was just combining two things. It was combining Beats Music, which they bought, and iTunes. And I mean, iTunes still exists, but like, who the fuck uses iTunes?
Not me, unless I'm renting a movie.
True.
And that shit came out in like what, 2015? Like,
something. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah,
because I remember it was a really I remember that because it was a really big deal, because Views was an Apple Music exclusive when it
Oh my gosh, that's right. It's all coming back to me.
And so was Blonde. Like I remember, like that was like that was like that first year of Apple, like 2016, like Apple Music, like it was like, come to the service because we have like exclusive albums like that. I remember
Tidal tried doing that too.
Yeah, Life of Pablo. Life of Pablo was on Tidal.
Tidal.
Yeah, that was crazy because Tidal had like Life of Pablo and Lemonade. Apple Music had like Blonde and like and Views, and like it was weird because nobody does like exclusive releases anymore. That's kind of interesting. What a time.
That was crazy. Like imagine having to pay for 3 different music streaming services.
I remember why the reason it got stopped was because of Frank Ocean. It was because of Blonde, because he like, it's like well documented, like that he like finessed the like entire music industry because of that.
Frank Ocean.
It's because what he did. It's because he like went. He had he negotiated with his music label, like, hey, instead of making a third album, I'll pay you 1 million, or I'll pay you 2 million to get out of it, right? I'll drop my second album and then I'll pay you 2 million to get out of making my third album. So he dropped his second album, which was just a visual album, wasn't even like a real album. And then and then he paid off his fee. And the next day he dropped Blonde, which was an Apple Music exclusive. And the reason he finessed everyone was because Apple paid him $20 million.
Holy shit.
So it's $20 million to team up.
Did he ever get sued for that?
No, because he like, it was like the biggest, it's like considered like one of the biggest finesses in like music history, because like he pretty much like blindsided the entire music industry by doing that and teaming up with the tech company to drop that album. And it's like, it was such a crazy precedent that like after that, everyone was like, no, like you are not allowed to drop exclusive albums anymore, like on streaming services.
Damn.
So like, good for him, but like also, I mean, like it's good for everyone. Like it would suck if you had to.
That's a ton of money, dude. That is a ton of money.
He got 20 million from Apple, and like it worked out because he only had to pay 2 million to get out of his contract.
Damn, he made it for 18 mil, bro.
and that
That's
album was,
insane.
and he
Now he's
like
got a
bombed
green
it.
ass baby.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we just went off into 1,000 different directions, but
Yeah, no, I mean, Apple, wide reaching. Frank got finessed by Frank Ocean. Doesn't do anything.
no,
with the
they
shit
helped
anymore.
they helped Frank Ocean finesse.
I mean, but he ended up getting the money.
He got the money, but he brought attention to Apple Music.
True. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, they probably got the return on their investment.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm guessing. I mean, everyone I know has Apple Music if they have an iPhone, except, I mean, Andrew occasionally will go back and forth.
Except to one of the people on this pod.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anyone else that does that personally.
Yeah.
Is it just because you get the free try or the $1
Once in a
for
while,
3 months?
they'll-
Yeah,
if
you need to explain this one, Andy. I don't get it either.
they'll send me like every so often, like you can get 3 months of Apple Music for like 99 cents. So then I'm just like, okay, if any album comes out on Apple Music before Spotify, then I guess I'll be fine for 99 cents.
I guess I'm a chump for paying
$10.
$10 a month now since I'm not a student.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm still on a family plan, like, because it's like the $15 a month for like 6 users, up to 6 users, like, and I'm on that plan.
once in a while I'll like be like, damn, like I kind of want my music to be like all my services to be Apple again, and then I start using Apple Music, and then I realize what a bucket of shit it is, and then I go back.
Yeah, I feel like Spotify is a little bit better at suggesting new music.
Well, and it's just better. It's more like you can control music on other devices. Like it's
PlayStation.
Yeah, that's what I use it mostly for, is to play music through PlayStation.
Well, it's kind of like the best of both worlds with that, because like you can still use Spotify for free. Like, you'll just get an ad like every like 5 songs, which isn't even like that bad. Like when I listen to Montero, I actually listened to it off of Spotify on the PlayStation app. I remember. Like, and it worked out fine. Like it was good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Apple Music has a free option with ads.
No,
I don't believe so.
No.
Apple losing their edge.
Yep. In conclusion, Apple bad.
Everything bad.
So we will move into our other main topic, Shang Chi. All right. So the main topic of this week, or the other main topic besides Apple, is Shang Chi, the newest Marvel MCU entry. I just said Marvel Cinematic Universe, so it's a very Marvel movie. Me and Parker saw it last week. Arso saw it recently. John saw it recently as well. It might be a little fresher in me and Parker's heads just because it's been a week. So Shang-Chi, basically the plot revolves around the 10 rings. Yeah, Sean, who is actually Shang-Chi. When he came to America, he changed his name to Sean. He is a valet along with his friend Katie. The story basically revolves around the 10 Rings and the 10 Rings organization, who Sean, I'm just going to say Sean for now. And I'm not even, I don't know if I can really attempt to say the other characters' names because I don't want to butcher them.
Katie.
Basically Sean's dad was
the Mandarin.
Original, yeah, he we find out he is the Mandarin. He was the original user of the 10 Rings, which grant the user immortality and godly powers while they wear them. On his quest to conquer the entire world, he comes across Ta Lao, a village said to harbor mythical beasts to expand his power. When he gets there, he meets the lady who eventually becomes Shang-Chi's mom. And she is the first person that actually puts up a legitimate fight against him while he's wearing the 10 Rings. They end up getting married. He retires the 10 Rings. What we find out is just temporarily. And they have 2 children, Sean and then his sister. When Sean was 7, his mother was murdered by some enemies from the Iron Gang. And this murder of his mother caused his father to get the 10 Rings back on him and get his powers back. and it kind of sent him into what seems like a downward spiral as it goes on. So the main opening part is Sean and Katie are going to work on a bus, and some people who we find out are from the 10 Rings organization kind of sabotage the bus, and there's a huge fight scene. Bus gets cut in half, and Sean's pendant that his mother gave him is stolen.
It's a badass fight scene, by the way.
It is. I'd highly recommend it. So then Sean gets a postcard from what he thinks his sister has sent him, taking him to her location. His sister runs a underground fight club that streams online. And this is where Sean meets back up with his sister. He gets tricked into signing up for the fight club and ends up actually fighting his sister, who undoubtedly whoops his ass. And then the 10 Rings organization and Sean's father all show up. And after a huge fight scene, him, his sister, and Katie are all taken back to the compound of the 10 Rings. His dad reveals to them that the pendants are actually a map of how to get into Ta Lo, which he is back on the hunt for after he claims to have heard his wife calling out for him. So after that, he tries to get Sean, Katie, and Sean's sister to join him, and they refuse, causing them to be imprisoned with the actor who played the Mandarin, who we find out actually Sean's dad is the actual Mandarin, and this guy was just an actor, and he's kind of an airhead. And actually his little pet exposes to Sean, Katie, and his sister on how to get to Ta Lo. So they get to Ta Lo before his dad gets there. And the whole point of Sean's dad getting there is that there is a gate that holds back the Dweller in Darkness that his wife is supposedly talking to Sean's dad from. And he comes there with the 10 Rings to try to open the gate. A huge fight scene breaks out. The Dweller in Darkness eventually comes out, and there's a huge battle. Sean's dad dies, and the legend of the 10 Rings passes on to Sean. So that's kind of a quick synopsis just off the top of the dome. I don't know. Everybody on the Zoom.
No, that was good.
So I don't know where everybody went. Okay, there they are. So I thought personally going into this, just some initial thoughts. I want to get everybody's initial thoughts. I had heard that this movie is getting good scores. And I kind of think it seemed like a very unorthodox superhero movie. It actually kind of reminded me of Ip Man. If you guys remember watching that in high school.
Ip Man.
Which really dragged me in because I like martial arts movies for whatever reason. They just, I don't know, something about them is just very interesting to me. And I think personally, just kind of hearing how this phase 4 of the MCU is, I think it seems a lot more interesting than, the generic characters like Hulk and Iron Man and Thor and all that stuff. Just to me personally, I know to most people they care about all of them, but I like the whole idea of phase 4. So, I kind of wanted to see it. It was getting good reviews, and I mean, personally, I really liked it. I thought it was really interesting how the 10 Rings worked and like how the fights went with all these different I guess the 10 Rings are kind of just like superpowers. I guess what I really liked about it, and this will go back whenever we talk about this game, but it really kind of reminded me that the last part reminded me a lot of God of War. I kind of saw the 10 Rings as like the blades of is it the blades of chaos or fury? Chaos. They really like reminded me of those, like Kratos's weapon that's just kind of like attached to his arms, and it's just kind of an extension of his power, which I thought was really cool. And I thought all the fight scenes were really interesting. I like the setting of all the movies. And I kind of like the whole idea that they're holding back this like world destroyer. I mean, the whole time I was like, I fucking hate Sean's dad. Like people keep giving him chances. He just fucks up every time. Kind of gets him to where he's at. But what were you guys' initial thoughts?
I actually really liked it initially. Like I didn't really know what to expect going into it. But I was really pleasantly surprised. I think it's a really, really, really good. What is it called when it's the first movie of a
Origin.
superhero? Origin, yes.
story.
I think it was a really good origin story. There were moments where it actually made Sean kind of look not as badass, but with the 10 rings, I mean, you're pretty much unstoppable from what I understand. And it'll be really interesting to see like how Shang Chi and the 10 rings kind of fit into the Marvel universe, because we haven't really gotten a whole lot of information yet on how it's going to all play out and fit in. But it almost seems like the 10 rings are like a similar like echelon as like the Infinity Stones. So I'm super interested to see like how Shang-Chi fits into the Avengers, the Avengers, or if he'll be an Avenger and where phase 4 is going to go from here. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the cinematography for what people sometimes refer to as cut and paste Marvel movie, I don't think it's that. I think it's like, it's really different. It feels like it was directed like very differently from other Marvel projects. And I really liked it. Like the cinematography was great. The actors were all really good. I think the funny stuff hit most of the time. But what did you think, Ursel?
Yeah. And actually, before I even go into my thoughts on the film, I just want to share my experiences. I don't know if I actually told you guys this. I think I was planning on saving this for the pod, my story regarding this film. So I was in Atlanta so when I saw this film, and me and my cousin went to go see it, and we buy the tickets, as she buys the tickets, and we go to the movie theater, and we're pulling up to this plaza, and it's just like, I mean, it's like a Tuesday night. It's pretty late. It's like 9 or 10 p.m. And I just don't see very many people, and I'm like, this looks dead as fuck. Like, yeah, I'm like, but whatever. So we like park the car and we walk over to the theater, and lo and behold, for some reason, this movie theater is closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And
What?
yeah, I was like baffled for a second. How did you buy a ticket for this? Like, how would they let you buy a ticket? And then she looks at it, and lo and behold, she actually bought it for Thursday at 9.
Rip.
So then I'm like, so we're just standing there. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see if there's another theater that's about to show this film, like, around, the same time. So we check, and there's another showing like 20 minutes from like the time that we were looking at it, and it was like a 10-minute drive. So we're like, perfect. She refunded her tickets for that. We just went to go see Shang-Chi at another theater. And that was all fine and dandy. But in the middle of the film, like, it started like torrential downpouring. So like throughout like the whole film, the second half of the film, like you could just hear like rain. And I thought it was the movie at first. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Because it started happening, I think, when they were in that night city, like that city at night. And I think like it was Shanghai or something. I don't know. But that's like when it started happening up until like the end of the film. At first I was thinking it was the film, but it wasn't. And then the movie ended, and it was still raining, and I was like, okay, this must be some crazy fucking storm. And then I just want to share this. Like, then we had to go back, and keep in mind we're driving our aunt/uncle's car in a city that we're not familiar with. And it's torrential downpouring. And I don't know if anyone knows the geography of Atlanta, but it is extremely hilly. Every street is either you're going up or you're going down. Like, and when you're in that sort of place and it's that torrential downpouring, it's like it's flooding. Like, it's just straight up flooding. So it was insane. And our phones were both at like 5% battery. So we were like, we were like, are we gonna make it home? Because it was like a 30-minute drive back home. Like,
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, it was crazy. And like, there was a moment where we stopped and parked at like underneath like those covers of the like at a gas station. And
Yeah.
and my cousin was kind of like, like low key, kind of freaking out a little. She's like, "What are we gonna do?" And I was like, "I know." And the car is lowered, by the way. We're driving like a BMW that's like a lowered BMW, and it's like hilly and it's flooding. Like,
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, "Listen, I know you probably don't feel the most comfortable driving in this weather, but you got to do this because our phones are about to fucking die, and we don't have a charger on us." And like, I was like, and we don't know anything about the city, like geography wise. I was like, if we don't get home, we're gonna see fucking billboards on our faces, like, because my aunt would be freaking the fuck out.
Oh my gosh, bro! At that point, I actually would have just bought a charger at the gas station.
Bro, it was 1 a.m.
car charger.
It was 1 a.m. once we got out of the movie.
Jeez.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That is scary, dude.
Yeah, it was insane. And I like hold that memory just as much as I hold this film. Like this events before and after this film. But anyways, all pretense aside, let's get into the actual film. I thought this was a good film. I thought it was a really good origin story. It was the first time I've seen, now that we're kind of getting into phase 4, phase 3, like we're not really coming across as many origin stories. But I thought this one really stood out compared to some of the more like, I think it's probably like up there with like, I'd say it's like up there with like Black Panther probably. I'd probably say I actually like Black Panther more, but no, this was a really solid origin story. I liked it a lot. But the thing I want to definitely point out is 2 things. One, as an Asian American myself, it was like, I don't think people realize this, but it's actually like super huge. Being able to see that sort of representation, even though I'm not like, like East Asian, I'm South Asian. It was still really awesome to see that because there is a lot of like cultural significance and a lot of cultural carry through between all these things. Like, like kind of a theme of this film is, your place in the world and like, your parents' desires for you versus like your own desires, and him being like a first generation American. And those are, those are a lot of things that resonate with me. So that was awesome to really see that, as that seeing that representation. That was alone something I wanted to go see this film and support it for. And then also the fight scenes in this film, probably the best fight scenes out of any MCU film. That's something the MCU is not known for, but it was we have a chat. I'm gonna actually share this. We have a chat in Zoom, and Andrew said, "Remember in high school when you said you were Asian and people would be like, 'Do what? You're Middle Eastern?'" Shocker, the Middle East is also in Asia, guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They act like it's their own fucking continent.
And Pakistan isn't even considered part of the Middle East, so double jokes on you. But,
yeah, literally.
And like, what is it? But yeah, like the fight scenes are really, really well done. I think my favorite one is like actually that bus scene that you guys were talking about earlier. That was
dude,
amazing. It was just like
it reminded me of a really good Spider-Man fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously, it reminded me of something of like from the Toby films. But
yeah.
But I'll save that because I know we'll probably go a little more in depth into that later. I actually also really loved the villain. Believe it or not, I thought he was more down to earth than some of the other MCU villains, because he was kind of, to me, like at the end of the day, like he was just kind of a widower, kind of grieving. He at the end of the day, he just wanted to be with his wife, and reunite his family. And he was, I thought, a really, really good villain. And I thought the whole cast was great. Honestly, I thought Simu Liu, I think, right, as Shang Chi was great.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, I thought Aquafina was great. As the comedic, side character. The most forgettable one I thought was though it was the sister. I thought she was kind of just in the background a lot of the times, but no, I thought this was really enjoyable, and I kind of want to watch it a second time just off the fact that I feel like I got a very like I don't know, tampered experience that watching it that first time. But no, like it's really fun, and I'm excited to see where Shang Chi fits into the Phase 4 and the rest of the MCU. But what about you, Parker?
Yeah, so when I first going into this movie, I had no clue what to expect. I did absolutely no research. I kind of just went in blind, and just wanted to see what I could get out of it. But as the movie progressed, I honestly started liking it more and more and more as it went through. I thought the character development was very good. Um, it good start for, especially if they're doing sequels to this, because they fully explained each character and their kind of origins, and that's great because you fully get an idea of what's going on instead of just being thrown into a fire with kind of meaningless characters. But I really enjoyed it. The villain, like you were talking about, Arsel, honestly didn't feel like a villain to me. Like it just felt like there are two sides kind of fighting for their own causes more than there being a real villain to me. But I really like the special effects in this movie. It honestly is like the closest CGI that can get to real life.
It was really good CGI.
Damn close to it. It was really well done. The only thing I really didn't like about it is kind of the mythical aspect. It kind of just felt fake at some points, like how crazy they were going. Like when they're driving the car through the forest and the trees are just kind of disappearing behind them, I'm like, this is kind of over the top and weird. But other than that, man, I thought it was a very high quality film. And yeah, there was just a really good story overall.
Yeah, I want to see this one twice as well. Ursula, actually. Like I feel like I understood it, and I really took everything in for the most part, but I want to see it again just because I think it's really good. Yeah, and I want to see if there's anything I missed out on or any like clues potentially for how it could fit into Phase 4.
Yeah, and actually that's one thing I totally forgot to talk about that Parker mentioned is like probably my big con with the film is it kind of the last act of the film kind of does turn into like usual MCU fare. With like this big world-ending threat and this crazy CGI battle, and I would have liked it if it was like a kind of a little bit more grounded, but that's probably like one of my biggest cons if I had to think of one off the top of my head, like off of initial thoughts. But
so is our consensus that the fight scenes were awesome? Because I thought the fight scenes, especially the one at the end with the dragon and shit.
Oh yeah, that was badass.
I thought that was dope. That was like the part that really Arsenal reminded me of God of War. I was like, damn, this is sick.
Yeah, I haven't even finished God of War, and I can definitely see the comparisons.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm halfway through it.
I mean, you'll understand the comparisons more as you play.
Yeah.
But like, what is it? The fight scenes. But yeah, going back to that first fight scene and I guess what is everyone's favorite fight scene? Because mine's definitely the bus one.
I think the bus one is my favorite. I really like the one at the end, but I feel like the bus one was just like so unique.
Yeah,
the
bus
bus one
like
felt like
martial
karate
arts.
Movie. Yeah, like a karate movie.
Because he didn't have the 10 rings or anything.
Yeah,
but the 10 rings, like I didn't think that the fight scenes with the 10 rings were the best, which is funny, but like the way they move and stuff is super interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was cool, really especially cool. How you can boost yourself off the ground with the rings. That's such a cool way to move.
Yeah, but like that bus fight scene, like how long, like it felt like super long, like it was like a 5 to 10 minute scene, I feel like. And there's just a lot going on with like trying to control the car, the bus from hitting traffic, and the bus is getting cut in half, and he's like running up against walls and he's fighting like 10 people in the small thing. He's trying to make sure that like the passengers are safe. that was like that's like a that was like a top like 5, top 3 fight scene in the MCU for me. Like that was fantastic. It reminded me a lot of the train fight from Spider-Man 2.
Same.
That's
what I was thinking about.
And I hold that as one of my favorite like fight scenes in a superhero film as well. I think that one is still better and more iconic, but like this one is still really, really cool. And yeah, like just seeing like the raw, like kind of martial arts kind of fighting going on was super cool. I will say, I want to ask you guys, did you guys think that I don't know why, you know, that at the beginning when his dad is like talking about the like or like kind of we're kind of seeing him meeting the mother for the first time, and they had that fight scene. I don't know why, for some reason I thought that fight scene was fucking hilarious. Like I was like I don't know why like how they're like sliding around each other and like smiling when they were like dodging each other's attacks. I don't know. I don't know, like it was not.
I could kind of see what you're thinking. I could kind of see what you're saying.
Like I was trying not to laugh during that. I don't know why.
It was like flirty and stuff, and you didn't know it was supposed to be right away.
Yeah. But like, but I thought that was super funny. What about you, Parker?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the fight scenes a lot. I thought the bus scene was definitely my favorite, just because I mean, I just like those original karate movies, like Andrew was referencing earlier, Ip Man. I just think those scenes are really cool and badass. Like, just seeing somebody rock the shit out of somebody with their fists is just so fun to watch. That one at the very end, that fight scene was very cool as well. I thought that had a lot better CGI. For sure. Like it was really well done. It looked real, like the closest thing it could to a real dragon fight. It felt like Skyrim. But yeah, the abilities of the rings definitely came into a lot of play at the very end of the movie. Just some of the cool abilities you saw. Like it's basically the Infinity Stones and like Tenet, like all the pieces you grab, and when you combine them all together, you can basically end the world. And I thought that was insanely cool to watch.
Okay, so I want to get what you guys think is the best moment. It could be a fight scene or I thought the coolest moment for sure was like when Shang-Chi's dad threw all the rings at him and like he like just like KO'd him, and then all the rings turned yellow and just started circling Shang-Chi. I thought that was awesome. I thought at first his dad was gonna like try to call him back, and then they would go on to Sean's arms, but I mean, I guess there was potential for that, but I thought that was like a super cool moment in the movie. What was your favorite moment?
Like I think like it was probably that bus fight, but I also want to highlight I really like the kind of back and forth between the dad and him. I thought that was like I mean I guess I want to kind of get your thoughts on that too, like the villain of the movie, because I think he's one of the better MCU villains actually, and he's the real Mandarin, which like obviously is like you know, kind of a connection to Iron Man 3 where there was 2 fake Mandarins, the fucking one played by Ben Kingsley and then the one played by Guy Pearce, which are both not the real Mandarin, like which is weird, like kind of in retrospect, like kind of thinking back to Iron Man 3. But and then also like seeing Ben Kingsley in the film as that, you know, fake Mandarin, like he's kind of a meme to me. So seeing him was super funny. That was also a highlight. Also, I loved kind of some of the other connections to the MCU, like seeing the Abomination fighting in that fight like ring with what is it Bong? No, what is the John, do you know who is Doctor Strange's assistant? Yeah, Wong. Yeah, him. Yeah, he's fighting Wong,
Bong.
Which is yeah.
Bong.
I was thinking about the Parasite director Bong. What is it? But Wong, like he's obviously Doctor Strange's assistant. So like there's a lot of connections to the outer MCU world. And I'm very excited to see like how he fits, like everything fits into that. But yeah, like a lot of highlights for me, like in terms of like moments that stand out, things I'll remember.
John?
I actually thought one of the best moments, cinematography wise too, was like the side of the skyscraper where they're like flipping around trying to
Yeah, that
trying to
reminded
get
me of
down.
Skyfall kind of.
Yeah, it literally reminded me of like James Bond. It was amazing.
That
It was
fight,
so well done.
that fight, like when they're fighting in the construction area, not on the side of the like building, but like kind of in the construction area.
Yeah.
Is that Casino Royale?
That was literally like that looked just like that's like kind of construction site fight scene from Skyfall.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that reminded me of like the bridge from The Last of Us. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2, yeah. Because
Yeah, I
like
could see that.
because you're just fucking was way up in the air on a construction piece, but they didn't do any fighting in The Last of Us 2 on that, but it's just still reminded me of that overall vibe.
High up in
thought
air.
it was really-
Last of Us
High
2.
up in the air, yeah.
Parker,
But I thought it was a really cool scene.
what was your favorite moment, Parker?
Probably my favorite moments. I would have to say that kind of construction fight scene was really cool. And the bus fight. I really like the fighting scenes in this movie because that's where kind of all the shit was going down.
I
actually want to say too, I feel like the comedy hit probably 90% of the time.
Yeah, it was actually really good comedy.
I was gonna say
I will
that
say
for
that.
the critique.
The
which-
Katie
Yeah.
character was a really welcome addition.
Yeah,
because
Aquafina's character.
Yeah, she provided a really nice sense of enjoyment to the film more than just fucking karate chopping each other.
What did you like for Andrew and Parker? Like, how do you guys view this film? Like, do you guys just view it as like a standalone film, or are you guys viewing this as like maybe an entry point for you guys into the MCU? Like, or like, did you guys feel confused at any point? Like, I'm kind of curious because like to me, this is like, oh, this is like this is the 25th MCU film. Like, you know, this is another piece of the puzzle. But how does it fit in for you guys? Like, you know, as people who aren't into the MCU.
I mean, I thought it was cool as like an origin story. I mean, I'll probably see the new Spider-Man, so I mean, maybe an entry point, like just because of the circumstances of the movies coming out soon. But I mean, Spider-Man's really like my only real like favorite mainstream Marvel superhero. But I kind of like this like deeper backstory type things. Just with like the whole Phase 4 outline being like post Avengers, I think it has like a lot of possibilities for me personally in my mind. Just kind of like I think Eternals looks pretty cool. That preview played right before the movie started for us. So
I actually like for some reason I thought Shang Chi and the Eternals were the same movie when I saw the trailers a while ago, because these trailers have been out for a while. And I associated them as being like the same movie for some reason.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't play the Spider-Man trailer before the film.
I know they didn't play it at our theater either. I was like, that
Same.
that movie like coming out in like 3 months?
I think they're trying to focus in the hype on the Eternals so that it doesn't get overshadowed. Because I have a feeling the Eternals is going to have a very big effect on the next phase. Because like they've never been brought in until now. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
It's just also interesting, like every thing that's coming out now from the MCU, there's something of like another dimension or another reality, like where they fight at the end of the film, it's another reality, like or like another world, or like literally they say it's another universe, like
multiverse.
So it's crazy that all this is coming into play because that they've been planning this for a while.
Yeah, it's insane. They've probably been planning all of this since before Thanos even. Who knows? I don't know. Like how far out? Well, how far out do you think Marvel has their story planned? Like how many phases of the MCU do you think there will be?
You know what I think? I think there will be 3. I think there will be like 3 sagas. I think like there's the Infinity War saga, which is phase 1 through 3, and I think it'll like I could see like now there's going to be like the next saga, which probably which is the multiverse saga, which I don't know where they could go from there. Who knows? But
That's what I'm thinking.
But and then I think maybe we'll see like a third saga, which obviously is probably 10 years away from now. But you know, they have a long-term plan. They probably do have the outline of the next 10 years.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's probably fair to assume. I mean, it's not like they like. I mean, it's Disney. Like, I mean, look how far out they have Star Wars planned out. Like, I can just imagine how far out they put Marvel.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
their cash cow.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping.
So,
I'm hoping Shang-Chi is like the new Iron Man. Not like technology wise or anything, just like the main guy, because he's really cool.
I think
really
it is
like
really
Shang-Chi.
cool.
I think he's gonna be like a supporting character. I don't like. I think that the leader of the Avengers is probably gonna be Captain Marvel. If I had to,
John's face.
Marvel.
like, just off of from what it seems like, I'm guessing it's gonna be Captain Marvel.
Maybe Doctor Strange. Who knows?
That's what I was gonna say.
Probably Doctor Strange or Spider-Man.
I feel like
'Cause-
Spider-Man's too young, and we don't know what's going on with Black Panther. I would have said Black Panther if obviously, you know,
Rest
Chadwick
in
Boseman
peace.
was still alive, but I don't know what direction they're going with that.
Yeah.
Also,
It's a
the
really
leader-
good
the-
origin
the-
story, though.
The leader could be someone that is not introduced yet now, because we know that
True.
X-Men and Fantastic Four are going to be coming in, which is going to be insane.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next phase.
Yeah, 'cause they have-
this
this is
upcoming
crazy.
phase actually interests me a lot.
And also, it's like with Spider-Man too. Like, you know, we're seeing. I literally saw a post earlier today that maybe Spider-Man from Insomniac Spider-Man might be in like Into the Spider-Verse, and like that what is it like, and you know, like now Sony is clearly very open with collaborating with Disney. You can see Spider-Verse, you know, creeping into the MCU.
True.
Obviously, there's hints of Venom creeping into the MCU. So it's just like, you know, Marvel has everything under their belt. They can do whatever they want with these characters, whatever storyline. They don't have to worry anymore. They don't have any restrictions about what they can or can't do based off what company has what characters. They have everything. And like pretty much, even if they don't totally have Spider-Man, like, and Spider-Man properties, you know, it doesn't matter because
They have a very collaborative relationship with
with
Sony
Sony.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
Which I'm glad. I am glad for the sake of the MCU.
Yeah, because it was a
Spider-Man's
little
dope.
dicey for a while, I remember.
like if Spider-Man would be in it. Is that what
Well,
you're
I
talking about?
remember that Disney and Sony had that huge issue with Spider-Man like a few years ago when the rights came back up for negotiation.
Yeah, Far From Home was supposed to be the last one. There wasn't supposed to be No Way Home.
Which obviously they are on better terms since now Sony's getting Wolverine in their games. So, I mean,
I think that was all just like a fucking showboat from Sony to
I
get
could
Disney
see
to
that. Pay up.
Disney to pay up, you fuckers, or like we're not gonna match whatever bullshit percentage you're asking. But and thinking like, dude, we could have a like pass after this year, bro. Fucking Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield could be part of the MCU. Like, that's fucking insane. But that, like, yeah, the phase four is so
Bully
exciting.
Maguire in the MCU.
Yes.
I need it.
I'm gonna throw some dirt in your. I'm gonna. What is the line? I'm gonna throw some dirt in your eye.
I think it's just I'm gonna throw some dirt at you. I
won't.
think it's just that.
Hold up. Someone find that. You gotta find
Bully
that.
Maguire. I keep getting suggested Bully Maguire videos on YouTube too.
I'm gonna.
I don't understand it.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
I'm gonna throw some dirt in your eye. Oh, here.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Bully Maguire in the MCU. 2021. We need it.
I would love it. But going back to Shang-Chi.
Yeah, so I was gonna get you guys' critiques on the movie. I think my main critique was like you said, John, the humor mostly hits, but there's some parts where I was just like, I can't think of any specific, honestly, but like I just remember there were multiple times where I was just like this humor is just not hitting.
Yeah,
Like,
surprisingly, that was one of my only critiques too. Well, I don't know if that was your only critique, but that was one of my only
yeah,
critiques.
I mean that
it
was
didn't
my
hit.
only one, really. There were just
It
some
didn't
points
hit
where it was like,
100% of the time.
yeah, there was just some points where I was like, I feel like we didn't need that. Like,
Yeah, and there were like one of my other critiques, a minor critique because it's an origin story movie, but there were a lot of times where Shang-Chi didn't look very badass. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't even that badass until the second half, which is, I mean,
wouldn't even say
there
that's
was the
the peak.
bus scene, and then he got saved a couple of times by his sister. He got his ass kicked by his sister. He got his ass saved by Katie.
But it's like, do you
Like-
think do you think he would be at like peak performance, like start of the movie? You got to see some growth,
Right.
you know?
Right. So I'm not like, it's not like a super, it's not a real critique, I guess, but I don't know. I thought it was worth mentioning that he kind of looked, just because like if he's gonna, fit into the MCU and be a major part of it, is he gonna have Katie by his side the entire time?
yeah, that's what
I
I
don't
was wondering.
I don't know. But like Katie, like there were some moments where I feel like she overstayed her welcome with the comedic relief. Like we don't need comedic relief every 2 seconds.
It was
Mostly
it was a lot of her lines that I was just like, yeah.
it mostly hit. I
Yeah.
will say that. It was better than all of the comedy in Shang-Chi will age a lot better than the comedy in Endgame. Like, oh, the Fortnite jokes in Endgame, those are not going to end well.
Yeah.
Those are not going to age well.
The
I think
fast
most of the
forward.
comedy in
The best
Shang-Chi
part of
will
that
age
joke,
well.
the best part of that joke in Endgame was that he was playing on a PS4. Just shows that the PS5 supply shortage is still a thing.
Oh yeah. Well,
I thought there was one thing, not just to veer off of critiques. Now that I think of it,
that's funny actually.
there is like a legit online thing where like the fact that this movie takes place after the snap, kind of to tie it into our other topic, is that since Old Town Road is in the movie, people are like, I like to confirm that Lil Nas X survived like the snap or the blip, or what they call it in the movie. Like I just think that's like funny that like people are like on the lookout. They're like, this person survived the blip. Like I was like, okay, I guess, sure, go for
Lil
it.
Nas X confirmed. What about you, Parker?
Like I kind of touched on this a little earlier, but some of the mythical aspects, like how they had to go to a whole completely mythical village and they had to drive through this forest of disappearing trees. It was just a little confusing to me. I felt like they didn't have to go through that amount of effort to like try to get you into this mythical landscape. I didn't really like that, but otherwise all of my other critiques are kind of nitpicky. Like they're really not too many complaints with this movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a damn good movie.
I thought it was pretty good too. It's like the acting was really good. The character development was really good. I'm just trying to think. Like it's hard to even think of critiques because there's really the critiques you could think of are really, really, really nitpicky. But I feel like I'd have to watch it a second or third time to even catch those. Like kind of plot mismanagement things, which you don't really catch on the first viewing, but I felt like overall it was handled pretty well. I think it would have tied more into Asian culture if they would have just kind of kept it like as a secret village in China somewhere. They didn't have to go through all this mythical landscape to get there. Like if they did a real Chinese village.
Well, how would it be secret though if it was just a village?
It could be a secret village. I don't know.
Like no, well, I'm not trying to like shit on you. It's just like the whole point of the forest was that it only opens at a specific time, unless what was the
No, we're talking about a universe where like there's people coming in from outer space and shit. Like
yeah, like there's like Harry Potter-esque like soul suckers like in this movie. Like
I just felt like it was a little over the top. But still, like there's really not much to complain about. It's really you're really looking for you're picking at the seeds to try to find some stuff here.
Yeah,
Also-
I'm in terms of like I'm kind of surprised you guys aren't saying like you don't have like no criticisms because I do have some. One,
The critic.
one like
Uh,
I don't know if you guys caught this. This one seemed like a plot hole to me. Or at least I just maybe didn't get why. Uh, so they get or okay, actually, maybe never mind. Now that I'm thinking about it and saying it out loud, I kind of understand it. But when I was first watching it, I didn't really understand what the point was of faking a letter to Shang Chi to get him to go to his sister. Because I was like, well, they already have his like piece of the like necklace or whatever. But now like thinking about it, I'm like, well, it's because he probably wanted them both together at the same time to like move forward with them. So scratch that. I was about to ask you guys, I'm like, is it like, did you guys notice this? Did you guys notice this? But no, I was just being dumb.
Dummy.
Okay. Okay. In terms of like, in terms of criticisms, I think that what is it? My main thing is like, I think the sister character, she doesn't really like contribute really much to the film at all. I think that I thought some of the stuff was like maybe a little unintentionally funny, but like maybe in retrospect that's not that bad because like it was supposed to be more lovey-dovey. So that's like another thing that's a little more of a nitpick than a critique. But I think my main criticisms come with like the third act. I think it's just like I trust me, like I'm an MCU whore, okay, but like I think it just starts treading a little back into like usual MCU fare. Like it felt pretty unique up until that point, and then it kind of like it's like okay, third act, world-ending stakes, big crazy CGI monster, like very like run-of-the-mill like MCU stuff. Like I said, I would have loved if like maybe the stakes were a little bit more grounded and it was like I thought that fight scene with him and his dad at the end was really awesome, but I thought that a lot of the stuff surrounding it, like I don't know, I wasn't as invested as I probably could have been. I feel like I do maybe need to rewatch the film, but I thought I thought the first two acts were really, really great. And I thought the third act was kind of generic, if I'm being kind of honest. But that's like those are kind of my two nitpicks is like the third act being kind of generic and also that the sister character doesn't contribute much to the film. Also I was kind of it being an origin story, I thought it would have been really awesome for it to be like kind of self-contained at the end, but obviously there's another lead in at the end that they're talking about how these rings are not from Earth and they're emitting some sort of signal. So it's very cool to see like how Shang-Chi will fit into the rest of the MCU. But those are like my main critiques, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have pretty valid critiques. Obviously, no movie is going to be, perfect, especially when it's an origin story. Trying to get the footing. But we'll just jump into the final thoughts and rating. I can go first. I thought this movie was really good. With the small critiques that I had. I mean, the fight scenes were awesome. I think the origin story and like his dad being like this, like the 10 rings are like really interesting to me, I think. And like I alluded to earlier, it kind of reminded me a lot of God of War, the movie in general.
For John.
So with that, I am giving it a 8 out of 10. Obviously, like I don't think it was like obviously perfect, but I really enjoyed the movie and I thought the fight scenes were awesome. I thought the story was very interesting. I feel like an eight's a pretty good score for this movie.
What were your cons?
My cons were just kind of like I don't know. I just like something about it's like I have to give this like an 8, like between an 8 and a 9. Like I wouldn't say it's like a perfect movie. There's just some things that I didn't like, just kind of the pacing a little bit, but also just that humor part. And like I didn't even think of like until you said it, Arso, just kind of like how in the background and unimportant his sister really is in the movie. I feel like she could add a bigger part. But I give it an 8 out of 10. John, what about you?
I love this movie, actually. I wanted to see it again just because I liked it so much. And I think it's one of the best origin stories in the MCU. I think it rivals Iron Man as being one of the best, and I think it's actually one of the better MCU movies that I've seen. Um, I am really interested to see, how he'll fit into everything, but like between the martial arts, which I thought was awesome, the really well done CGI, uh, the funny moments that mostly hit, but some fell flat. I think some of the comedy overstayed its welcome, but really, all in all, this was like kind of the total package. I mean, if you're looking to see a new superhero movie, this is a really good one to see, especially if you're not even fully invested into the MCU. Parker and
Yeah.
Andrew aren't huge MCU guys like Ursula and I are. Like, we've seen all of the movies in the MCU probably twice each, except for like Thor 2, or I mean Thor the Dark World. But this one was so good, in my opinion. I can't wait until it's out on streaming and Blu-ray because I might even buy this one on Blu-ray. I thought it was that good. The visuals are incredible. Some of the best I think we've seen in a Marvel movie. Um, and the story was really good. It was, you know, like you said, Ursula, there was, the typical MCU fare where, there's the world-ending threat. But besides that, it was a pretty tame story. And I think at the end of the day, it really was a pretty tame story. And they could have just cut that out completely. And I thought it would have, you know, done the movie justice in the same regard. Um, but with all of that being said, I think really the only thing that I would critique it for is the fact that I think some of the comedy overstays its welcome. And um, that's really it. I mean, I loved this movie and I would give it a 9 out of 10, easy. I'd like to see it a couple of more times before I really, were to set in stone give it like a 9.5, but it could get there. I don't have a lot of gripes with this one. I think it's really good. But what about you, Parker?
I really was. I didn't think the movie would be this good going in. Um, for an origin story, they did a great job with the character development and overall just making you feel at tune with the characters and being able to relate to them at least a little bit, and especially in a mythical kind of just out of the norm movie. Like these characters actually felt relatable. I actually enjoyed the comedy. Like it took some of the seriousness out of the movie, which is needed sometimes for me to be able to like stay in it. Um, I thought the CGI was extremely well done. Like they made everything look real. That it was top quality. And I'm excited to see where this movie fits into the Marvel universe, like how Shang Chi will fit into the Avengers cast, like what role he'll. Just because like there's still some, it's not perfect, no movie's perfect, there's still time for that to go up, but honestly as of now I can't give it any lower or higher than an 8.
And Arsenal?
Yeah, so like my kind of final thoughts. I think there's a lot to really, really like about this film. Like I said, I love the representation we're finally getting of like Asian Americans in like big Hollywood films. It means a lot to me. I think the villain is really good, one of the better MCU villains. And I think the heart of this film that I really, really enjoy is his relationship with his father. Um, that is, I thought it was super, super, like, I thought that was, I thought that really should have been the focus throughout the finale of the film. And I felt like it kind of strayed away from that. Obviously, the fight scenes are great. Um, like seriously, some of the best fight scenes in the MCU. And I also, all the characters are super lovable. I can't wait to see Katie and Shang Chi like, whatever the second film will be. We know there'll be a second film, obviously. And there's a lot to really, really like about this film. In terms of cons, I think like it is a little disappointing that like the first fight scene, in my opinion, is like the best one, but that's kind of a, like, like that's kind of like a personal taste thing, I guess. Because I thought the fight scenes kind of got more generic as they went on. Especially with the third act, just like I said, as I mentioned earlier, like that third act, I just felt like the stakes didn't do justice to like what the story was about the whole time, which was this relationship between like a dad and a son. And it just strayed away from that. Like, it's kind of like the same thing with WandaVision. Like, WandaVision was about, the trauma of like Scarlet Witch, Wanda, Maximoff, and like Vision. And then I felt like near the end, like it's kind of straying away from that to go to like
Agatha. Straight into the
Agatha.
thing.
I didn't hear. Yeah. Like
it was Agatha
all along. Yeah. And it kind of strayed away from that and kind of took away from the core part of the film or and of that TV show. So it really suffers kind of the same problems, but also the same benefits of that, where it's about this relationship of two people. So it's kind of, and then obviously also the female or the sister character, I don't even remember her name. She could have been cut out of the film and it would have made no difference to me. It would have made no difference to the plot. Like they even talk about how like the dad does not give a rat's ass about about the daughter. Like also I want to point out one of my favorite shots or scenes from the film is like, how like he's training, like there's that montage of him training as a kid and he's like beating on that little wooden pole. Like I don't know why I really loved like one of like when he comes back as an adult and like he just touches that like same spot on that wooden pole and it's just that like the place that he was like kind of marking off as a kid. I really like that. Yeah, this is a really good origin story. The MCU has had a lot of high highs and some lows as well. So I think this is kind of like middle of the pack. This is like very similar kind of tier as like Black Panther for me. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I definitely want to watch it a second time, and I could see my rating going up higher than that. So I'm actually gonna give it an 8 out of 10 as well. So I think anyone want to do the calculations because me, Andrew Parker, we're 8 out of 10.
That gives a 8.25 average, so pretty on par.
So 8.3 total.
Yeah,
I guess rounding. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So an 8.3. I mean, I think it's very deserving of that score.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely go see it.
Yeah, and if you're like not an MCU fanatic, this is also just a great movie to see as a one-off.
Yeah,
like that's.
I mean, me and Parker aren't, and we both liked it. So I mean,
it's just a good superhero movie at the end of the day.
It is. All right. Well, that wraps up this episode. Thank you everybody for listening. Keep liking, rating, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time. This is Andrew signing off.
Check out the socials. Peace out.
Check out the socials.
Thanks, guys.